In today's episode, I speak to a good friend, Andrew, from Kenya Choppers. Hi, and welcome to another Stanley Safaris Podcast, where we chat to the owners and founders of the camps, lodges, and experiences that we love to send our guests to. Today I'm joined by a good friend, Andrew. We spoke to his sister, Annie, a few weeks ago about Omalo, but Andrew is living the dream. He is part of the family that owns and hosts at Omalo. But today we're talking to Andrew about one of my favorite things ever, and that is helicopters. Andrew is the owner of Kenya Choppers, and they do incredible things up in the northern part of Kenya. So we'll find out more. But Andrew, thanks so much for your time. I know you are busy. We've been talking about this for a few months now. And you're about to get extremely busy with the season coming up. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me.
No worries at all. We actually haven't been busy at all. I've just been dodging you.
I understand that. You're camera shy.
Exactly.
You don't like being in front of the camera. You prefer to be behind it and flying choppers around.
Yeah, exactly. No, all good, Sean. Thank you very much. No, we have been rushing around. Ranch life it never stops. You can plan something and then something always goes wrong or goes right or whatever, but you're always called out and told the horses are missing, or there's a lion eating a camel like it did the other day, or there's always something going on.
Oh dear. Yeah. Joys of living out in the wilderness.
Yeah. It's good fun. Keeps us on our toes.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, obviously, we've met. I've done 3 helicopter flights with you. I always wanted to be a helicopter pilot, so I think this is my way of living that childhood dream of mine. And we always try and get our guests to do helicopters, whether it's with you up in Kenya or in Botswana, Namibia, Vic Falls, Cape Town, wherever there are opportunities. And I just think it's an amazing tool to use to explore some of the more remote parts of the countries. And what you're doing up there is amazing. But how did you get into becoming a helicopter pilot? As I said, you're part of the family that owns Omalo. How did you get into helicopters? Where did that begin?
Yeah, Sean, good question. And actually, I never ever imagined us being where we are now. I have to pinch myself every single morning where we're going up and getting in those things. I have to pinch myself twice as hard when we walk past the hangar and there are 3 of them sitting there, or when we have, like we've got coming up this year, lots of four helicopter trips and we're all flying all together. It's like, just super lucky, dream come true. But yeah, no, I've always wanted to fly. I think since I can remember, when I first started to walk, all I wanted to do was, all I was doing was looking up there and saying, that's where I want to be. That's where the peacefulness is. And growing up in North Kenya, my father wasn't, but a lot of my friends' fathers were pilots and with little airplanes. And so the school we were at, at a young age, we started there at boarding school at 6, and all the parents would come in their little airplanes to pick up the kids on half terms and end of terms. And so you'd be sitting in your last class or in last chapel, and you'd hear whoa coming over the chapel, and that feeling of, yes, we're off home and the parents are arriving to take us and it's end of term. And I wasn't much of a school goer. I didn't enjoy school all that much. So going home for me was the best. But I guess that from an early age, and then I was just set on flying. And then I worked in Mozambique for a bit. I earned some money, came back, got my pilot's license in Kenya, my fixed wing pilot's license. Then my old man was kind enough to buy me a little Cessna 182, which is what we started with. And I started flying stuff for the ranch, flying in supplies or, whatever. And I then got into quite a lot of conservation flying, fixed wing conservation flying, because that was my other passion is conservation, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I started flying for Save the Elephants. It was actually mainly Save the Elephants and Kenya Wildlife Service back then. Now we fly for, a whole variety of different people.
Yeah.
But I started with Ian Douglas Hamilton, back when I got my license when I was 19, and when I was 21, I started flying for him. And that took me to all sorts of weird and wonderful places. We flew in West Africa, darting elephants there. We went down into Tanzania. We went all over Kenya. yeah, amazing time, which is just really good fun, and learning from those old boys, who are they're just growing up in the air. They just,
Yeah.
he spent his whole life in the air. And so sort of did that all the way through, and actually it goes back to even before that. When I was at school in England, I really wanted to get into helicopters, but they're so expensive. There was really very little way for me to get in. So I actually, at my end of school in England, I joined the Army Air Corps. I started joining the Army Air Corps. So that was my sort of free way of getting into it.
Okay.
But after I managed to get through my pre-RCB at Sandhurst and all that, and then they told me I needed to be, if I was going to join, because I was so young, I needed to be with them for 7 years, and I needed to second to another regiment for a year. Well,
Sure.
8 years when you're 18, you imagine coming out in your late 20s, you think you're going to be an old man, which we all know is not the case now. But back then, so I actually told them, if they weren't going to accept me straight away, then I was gonna go off and travel. And that's when I went to Mozambique, got my money, came back to Kenya, got my fixed wing, started flying here, and then my life was set. Then I was super happy. I was working on the family ranch, me and mum and dad, and I was sort of running the house, and then they were running the lodge, and I was flying the airplane. And I thought, well, this is it. This is my life, which is a fantastic life. And I was so lucky to be there and so lucky to be in that position. We had amazing guests coming through, and I was.
Yeah, no, you're back. Yeah.
Yeah, we had amazing guests coming through. My conservation flying in the fixed wing world was, awesome. I loved the ranch life as well. So you're always up early, always different stuff going on, like we were talking about just now. And it was only until I was sitting on the river here with a guy from California. He's a real surfer dude. He was in his 60s, rocked up in like board shorts and flip-flops and a Life is Good t-shirt with his kids and his wife. And he was like, yeah, man, cool. He's from California. And we went down to the river, and we were sitting on the river drinking beers. And I was sitting there with him chatting away about different stuff, what he had been up to, what I've been up to. And I was then with Chulu, and so she was with his wife, and they were swimming or whatever in the river. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the beers or what it was, but he said to me, he said, well, first he was like, so man, tell me about your life. So I was rattling on to him about how lucky I was. And he said, you know what, man, you're never going to fly a helicopter. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, you keep using this word luck. And I said, yeah, but I am lucky. So, that's that. And he said, no, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And he was like, and you haven't got your license, so you're never going to fly a helicopter. Yeah. And I don't know whether it was my inebriated self or what it was at that moment, but I came back home and rummaged around and found $200. Next time I was in Nairobi, I went looking for a flight school, which there weren't any of. So flying helicopters, and sure enough, one popped up, and I went in there and gave them $200, and I did my half an hour, and from then on I just cracked on. And then towards the end of getting my license, I mean, the story can carry on and on and on, but towards the end of getting my license, I was approaching different companies, asking them to base a helicopter at the lodge, and saying to them, I can't afford to buy a helicopter, but I can fly one once I've got my license. And we've got a great lodge. We know the clients. I love North Kenya. I want to get people up into North Kenya. And the only way to do it is by helicopter. And basically everyone told me this won't work. You either do aviation or you do tourism, but you can't mix them together. So one thing led to another, good friends, good partners now and friends back then. And we managed to get ourselves a little Robbie 44. I always remember it was one of those things. I think, I owed so many people so much money. We didn't sign one agreement. Everything was done on handshakes. We always said we were going to sign an agreement, and we never got around to it. And that was that. Within, I went down to Nairobi and got in this little Robbie and flew home, and I couldn't believe it. I landed at home, and my mum and dad were like, "You've done what? You owe what?" Sure. And anyway, that was great. It started from there, and then we just piled everyone into it. I mean, we were so desperate to get people to go in it. I was like, "Come on, you're staying here. Just go for half an hour, go for an hour." We started then going up to, the whole reason why we did it was started to going up to Turkana and the Suguta Valley, which, North Kenya is so special, like, I don't think there's like it, and I don't think there's anything like it anywhere else in the world. And so we're just super lucky to be next door to it. And now we're super lucky to have the machines to be able to take people up there and give them this amazing experience, which they won't get anywhere else. And so it's all sort of just fallen into place, Sean. I mean, I even now I still can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Chalby just found the scorpion torch. That's good. We were missing the scorpion torch, so now we have. So we can find scorpions again at night. So that's good. But no, it's literally it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's
so from the time you did that first $200 half an hour flight to Nairobi until you got your first helicopter, what sort of time frame was that?
It was so it took me about a year to get my a bit to get my license. So we've got this old spear maker. I used to work with his dad, who was also a spear maker or blacksmith, and then he actually died, and then his son took over. And so I used to buy stuff off him because I love knives and spears and stuff like that. And he makes the most incredible Samburu and Maasai spears. And so I came back here and scratched my head and thought, how am I going to get through this, getting my license? Because it's so much money and I didn't have the money. And so I went to him and I said, make me a set of spears, the Samburu, the Dorobo, and the Maasai spears. So they're the Kenyan spears, proper spears. We don't want fake ones. And I will sell them to our guests and slowly make some money. And I worked out that if I sold 2 sets of spears, it would give me 1 hour. And so that was it. And so I got through my whole license pretty much on that.
Spears.
On selling spears. Yeah. Anyway, we got through that a year and a half or so. And then I did a bit of flying with different people in Kenya and got my hours up, got my commercial license. So that was probably 2 years. And then it took me about another year to get everyone together. So probably 3 years from when when I took that $200 first and to landing at home with a helicopter and getting a rocket from my mother.
Sure. That's quite a journey, but a very determined journey, eh?
Yeah, determined. And also, I guess, we're super lucky because my dad set up this amazing ranch and amazing lodge, and we live in such a beautiful place. And so, I had a job and I was working and I was busy. It wasn't like I was, just sitting working on that. This was a dream that was put in my mind by a surfer dude from California. And I just thought, well, if he's telling me get on with it, I might as well get on with it, because sitting around isn't gonna get me there. And I was sitting around, and just his few words made me think, wait, let's go and do something.
And does he know where you are now?
I've tried to find his contact and I still can't. So maybe this podcast will get him. Yeah. He had a story. He had a story of his own, which was exactly that, which was him and a friend joining and making a company. And it was an amazing story. But he had a friend like that. So his mind had also been, he used to just live surfing and whatever. And then his mind was changed by his friend. Okay. And him handing it on to me. So they did it. So anyway, that's how we got there. Yeah.
Amazing. So you've now got three helicopters?
So we've got 5 now.
Five.
So we've got 4 66s and 144 and and cracking on.
Cool. Yeah. And so aside from the tourism aspect, and you said, your other passion is conservation, how do the helicopters and the conservation work hand in hand at the moment?
Yeah, good question. So we obviously live up here at Old Malo, and so we have our own conservation stuff going on here. And all my generation, we were all at school together when we were 6. So a lot of them are coming into different ranches and managing different places, different conservation areas. So the name ranch, as you know, as all ranches throughout Laikipia have been changed to conservation areas, because ranching and conservation goes basically hand in hand. Yeah. And then you got these bigger conservancies, like Old Pejeta and Old Jogi and guys like that. And so quite often and a lot of those guys have rhino, and they also have elephant. And then obviously the whole of North Kenya has elephant and stuff. And so as soon as I got my helicopter stuff, I was flying with Save the Elephants, because I'd been with them since I was 18. And Ian Douglas Hamilton had taught me most of the stuff I know in that flying world. So as soon as I had the chopper, they were happy for me to fly with them and with that stuff. Before it was always the big helicopters, so it was a very expensive job. And so we've managed now to be able to, because you guys send us all these amazing guests, and they obviously pay for the helicopters and pay for coming out here, that allows us now to bring our rates for conservation right down, which means that we can give back to nature and to what we're all, the whole bigger picture with you and the guests and us, and we're all here for conservation. We're all here to conserve Kenya and to look after Kenya. And so now that's our way. Luckily, we're able now to help do that. And so we do a lot of conservation flying for different conservation areas. Also, those companies, those Save the Elephants, Space for Giants, who do amazing work, and also the Kenya Wildlife Service. We do a lot of flying for them as well. So that's
not just up in the Laikipia. I think I saw stuff where you were down in Tsavo and places down in other parts of Kenya.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've gone everywhere. I was up in Gambela in Ethiopia the other day flying for Africa Parks. We've got a helicopter going 2 days across to Uganda, Pinaupe, to do a whole lot of conservation over there, which we go and do regularly. Of course, yeah. So, and then all over Kenya. So Tsavo, the Mara, Laikipia, all over the place. It's really fun flying. It's sort of it's the best of both worlds, because you're doing amazing work. You're with amazing people, and you're helping these incredible animals, and you're flying. So it's like, for us, it's a complete dream. But the funny thing is, like, we keep telling our guests, and I think they just think we're just trying to be marketing, is it's all due to them. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, and that elephant wouldn't have been saved. So it's a trickle effect. And actually, what really, COVID was an interesting one for us, because they're not cheap things, these little whirly birds, and especially when they're sitting on the ground, they're really not cheap. They're still eating money, and you're not making any money. And so when COVID hit, it was a bit of a shock to the system, because suddenly it was like, wow, we've got all this insurance and everything for these machines, and there's zero work because no one was coming. And so I actually contacted all the conservancies and said, listen, they're sitting here. You can fly them for cost price. Let's just keep them going, keep them warm, keep everything moving. And if we're looking after, because everyone was worried during COVID, because there was no tourism, there would be no income. Because there's no income, the rangers wouldn't be paid. If the rangers wouldn't be paid, the poachers would take advantage. And so there was that sort of worry that people had. And so we just called them and said, listen, we're here, we're bored, machines are here, put fuel in them, let's go and save some animals. And that really worked. We had the busiest, my accountant couldn't quite understand it, because we had the busiest year with the lowest income. But we met all these amazing people, and as a result, later, we've kept flying for them, and so it's been great. But my accountant was scratching his head, saying, "So why are you flying masses and the bank is empty?" I was like, "Well, that's how it is."
Yeah, we love flying.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of conservation, and then obviously the tourism side.
But when the second time I flew with you a couple of years ago, and we went all the way up to Turkana, you've got the South Island there. That's also part of conservation. You've got your Nile perch fishing, which is tag and release. You sent me the picture the other day, or showed me the picture the other day of your first re-caught tagged fish, which is amazing. So that's also an element of conservation. And then you were also talking about, I think we landed somewhere for breakfast and looking out over a lake and a beautiful valley. It wasn't Turkana, it was further south. And you were talking about kind of protecting that area as well. What is that?
Yeah, so our main area we go to, and the reason we got into it, and the passion of why we like taking guests there of this beautiful place that we went and visited with you, is that Great Rift Valley strip, which is called the Suguta Valley, which is south of Lake Turkana. And the Suguta Valley, throughout the years, has been a very neglected place because it's so remote, and because no one goes there and whatever. So So when we started going there and using it, I started getting to know the local people, because you'd land and chat with the odd person that you saw. I mean, there are very few people out there, but
Yeah.
there is a structure everywhere in Kenya, and everywhere has their chief, and everywhere has everyone, every tribe or tribal group has their area, and these areas have a tribal, they have tribal owners as such.
Yeah.
But without anything. So, they live there and they say that they own it, or it's their land, because it is, because they live there. But there's no, there's nothing written down to say that. So they're just there, which is how most of North Kenya is. So I just got together with the elders and called them all in and said, listen, we're coming through here. We're bringing guests, we're looking at stuff. We're not taking anything or whatever, but the richness of this area is just leaving it as it is. And that was very difficult to get over to them, because they can't understand why we would go there and even pay to go there to help them when we're not telling them to do anything. So they said, I mean, I remember one of the first meetings, they said, okay, so, what do you want us to do? Should we build a hotel, or should we put a road in, or, do you want a picnic thing, or what do you want? And I said, no, what I want is nothing, just nothing. Just
leave it as it is.
Keep doing what you're doing. Your cattle are there. Keep doing everything. Obviously try not to kill any wild animals. If you see them, try not to burn down the trees or make charcoal or whatever. But other than that, just keep going. We're just here. We're just kind of joining you, and we want to try and help.
Yeah.
So we started up with them. That was quite a big project for me for us on our own, just our little family thing. And it, it needed more. It needed more people that knew about. I mean, it just needed more. It needed professionals as such, and we don't call ourselves. We don't think we're that at all. And so we got Conserve, an organization called Conserve Global, and I contacted them through a friend of mine who actually suggested them, and the two guys came up, Matt and Andy, and they've got lots of experience in different conservation groups and everything else. And I took them up there, and I showed them everything, and I said, this is here, and it needs someone to look after it, with the local people, but give them a sense of ownership, and then just help them look after it. And so that's now been running that. So they accepted and joined and have taken it on, and I just sit with the local guys on the board, but they've basically cracked on with it. And it's great. It's great, because the funny thing is with conservation is, you just need to conserve it. Conserving is just doing nothing. It's letting nature just do its thing, right? So it's a funny thing. Like, it's a funny, if you want to build a mall, you've actually got to go and build something and get money and put it in and get shops and da 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 da. With conservation, you just leave it alone and enjoy it, and it does its thing, and you look after it and let it do its thing. So that was one thing, and that's huge. That's from Salali Crater, which is all in the way to the south, all the way to Lake Turkana. And for us, the main thing is it's a harsh area now, but as the world grows and as population increases, or whatever's going to happen in the future, who knows? Suddenly you'll get a place where there are 1 million flamingos on that completely untouched lake, which we went and saw with you, which is just breathtaking and mind blowing and like. Almost going back in time. You get something like that, and suddenly an oil and gas exploration company will come in, and we know what they're good at. And so at least this just gives the local people a foot to stand on, to say, hey, wait a second, we've been running a conservation area here for 20 years, and you can't just come in and do this. It's our land. At least it gives them that, and that's the main thing. I mean, they'll probably get trampled on anyway, but you've got to do what you can to try and keep it wild and like it is, and all we want is it to stay like it is. I mean, that's what we want. So the project is helping on the outside of the valley, so out of the conservation area as such, is helping different projects. So there are little schools in towns that need to be helped. So Conserve are doing that with them, with us, with the local people. Water projects, they're doing all sorts of different things, but just slowly, because that's the best way to go. So that's the one thing. That's the whole Suguta Valley, which is amazing. And then South Island was a little sort of project of ours, which is the same thing again. I went there maybe 9 years ago.
Sure.
I went there with a crazy Irish dude who was called Wild Fish Wild Places.
Okay.
Name was Alan, and he was nuts and he loved fishing. And so we went there with him, and all he wanted to catch a big fish. So I said, well, let's go to South Island. We'll go and camp. So we went camp there for 7 days,
Sure.
and we went fishing, and we just caught. So South Island is a 15,000-acre island in the middle of the Jade Sea or Lake Turkana, which is the biggest inland alkaline lake in the world. I think a lot of words there to make it the biggest.
Yeah.
But it is huge. It's 320 odd kilometers long, goes all the way up into Ethiopia. It's got that amazing jade green color, hence it's called the Jade Sea.
Yeah.
And there's this incredible island in the southern end of it, which is completely wild. It's like being on the moon. And we went and camped there. We slept on the beach. We got a little boat and we cruised around trying to catch a fish. And we caught nets, we caught long lines, we caught, and it's a World Heritage Site. It's a Kenya Wildlife Service National Park. So it's a Kenyan national park, but because it's so remote and so hard to look after because of its remoteness, it was, people were struggling to look after it.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about it, a World Heritage Site is something I think is something that the world, you and everyone else, has given to us, Kenya, to look after because it's so important. It's a heritage site.
Yeah.
That maybe the World Heritage Site is different, but that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
And so then us as Kenyans not looking after the World Heritage Site is kind of like we're not doing what the world has asked us to do.
Sure.
And so anyone can do anything. So you don't have to be God to do everything. You just crack on and do in your own little way, and things might change, they might not, and if they don't, then they don't, and if they do, then they do. And so that 7 days we caught one fish in 7 days, fishing all day. It was a nice enough fish, but man, it was. I suddenly looked at it and I thought, the water had gone sort of grey. There was no life. There was no fish. Usually you see you go and dive on a coral reef or something. You can see pretty quickly the coral goes grey and everything goes grey, or you'll see it all alive and little fish and baby fish and fish eating other fish and da 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 da, and that was just gone. And so was the bird life. Like no bird life. And when I did a research on South Island in the 40s and 50s, it was known as the biggest Nile crocodile breeding ground in the world. And now there was, we'd go around the whole island, which is 15,000 acres, and see 3-4 crocodiles.
Sure.
And we weren't seeing little crocodiles. We're seeing these big old things. And so you've suddenly you have the generation from that 50 to 70, 80-year-old crocodile. From then to now, there's been no crocodiles. So then I started doing a bit more research on it, and we went and we camped on there, and we patrolled, and we went and spoke to the poachers, the fishermen. They were fishermen. We were on there illegally, but we'd go and speak to them, and they, and I'll send you photos of they would kill everything, all the birds' nests. They would raid. They'd take the eggs and obviously eat them. All the fish they would catch in tiny little nets that they would catch everything. Baby ones were just chucked on the beach to die. Big ones were taken to eat, and it's a tricky thing, right? Because they're just fishing they're just trying to live their life as well. They're trying to survive. But what we sort of relayed to them is, you've got this amazing thing, this whole lake, which feeds millions of people living along the shores with free food. Kabisa free. They don't, that was just given to them by the old man upstairs. He said, there are the fish. That's it. And so you've got free living for eternity. But if you, excuse my French, fuck it, then you're not gonna, that'll be gone. And when it's gone, it's gone.
Outside of that lake, it's a desert. It's a harsh environment. So that is their bread basket.
100%. And you've got this desert that comes into the lake. So, and then when Kenya set up its parks, it obviously someone clever looked at it and said, right, this is the case. This is what's going to happen, and this lake will provide food forever. But we've got to have some places where the fish can breed and go into the lake and be caught. So they met South Island, Central Island, and Siboloi National Park in the north. Now, if those 3 places are looked after and the fish are looked after in those 3 places, now everyone can live forever. And so as we explained it to them, we said, if you have a cow and you feed it and you look after it and you can milk it every single morning. You'll have fresh milk, forever. And that's just, cow's just giving you that for free. But if you kill the cow, yes, you'll eat well today and tomorrow and the next day, because you'll have a whole lot of meat to eat, but then you'll have nothing. And so we try to relay to them that the island is the cow. And if
you're back.
Yeah, so we try to relate to them that the island is this cow being given to them for free. And if we look after it, they'll have food for generations and generations. If they don't look after it, their kids will never eat a fish from Lake Turkana, which is horrendous.
Yeah.
So, that together with just allowing things to breed, allowing things to live their life and get big and then be eaten. And so we started, I went and saw, I actually went right at the start. I went to Kenya Wildlife Service in Nairobi, and I went and saw Richard Leakey, he was just at the end of his stay there. And I went and had a meeting with him, and I said, I asked him, I said, South Island, I would love to help. We'd love to get involved. And he, of course, being they go and scratch around for the bones up in the north there. So they know about living up there, and they know how harsh it is, and they know the desert life and everything else. And he said to me, if you are completely nuts, then be my guest. Help. We'll accept any help.
Yeah.
But that island, sometimes you'll get on there and, the range will get on there and you won't be able to get off for a month because the wind will pick up. You can't get off. Now you're on the island. So just be aware of that, because that's how aggressive it is. But if you want to do it and you're nuts, then go for it. And so I was like, okay, great. Well, I'll go for it then. And then he said, actually, you reminded me a little bit of myself when I was first up there, because obviously he pioneered up there with the early digs and all that. So that was it, Sean. We just cracked on and worked with the Kenya Wildlife Service, and it's taken a long time, because it's a mindset that you're trying to change. It's also, you want to do it in a way that's, you want to do it in a nice way. You don't want to have, you're not fighting and arresting people and bloody, because but you've got to be strict, and you've got to be reasonably stern. And if it was 4 or 5 years ago or something, the Kenya Wildlife Service made me the honorary warden for up there. So that was nice of them. And we've been working great together. And I was up there yesterday, like I mentioned, and oh my God, it's unreal. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, the fish are all coming back. You give nature a little sniff, and it will take it.
Lost you. Go back and say where you were there yesterday.
Yeah, I was there yesterday, and it's just unbelievable. There's now not, touch wood, there's not one poacher on there. We've employed the poachers that we caught. Some of the poachers that we caught on the side, or the fishermen, we've employed some of them, so they know the island backwards, and they know everyone else who's coming in. It seems like the local, the local chat around the mainland is that it's good, and the fish are getting better for them even out there now. So it seems like we're winning in the right way. And with the island, it's unreal. I mean, we found a little pool the other day, which is just sort of inland. So you got sort of the sea, the lake, and then a little beach, and then there's a little sort of pond, which is from rainwater or the lake overflowing into it. We landed the boat, we crawled up, then a big croc came out of the little pond, and she went slowly just right past us over into the lake, and she turned and faced us about a meter off. And I said to, because I was with Julia and the kids, and I was like, I'm sure she's got eggs here, or there'll be babies somewhere. So we walked around the little pond, and suddenly we started, these little crocs this size were going like 40, 50 of them all into the little pond. Okay. So Chalby jumped in and caught one, and we looked at it, and this perfect little crocodile, which is amazing, because they are really like dinosaurs. They don't change from that big to 18 feet. There's no like puppy. You know what I mean? Like a dog, you can know it's a little young because it's a puppy. A kid, it's young because it's got a head a bit like yours. But with a croc that size and 18 feet, he doesn't change. And they can grow to live to over 100 years old. So they're pretty amazing creatures. But all these little baby crocs, those guys, there are no nets for them to swim into to get killed. They've just got to deal with maybe the odd bird of prey trying to get them. So it'll all come back, and we'll miss a whole maybe 7, 8, 9 generations of crocodiles, but they will come back. And then they'll eat the fish, and the fish will breed more. And The whole circle will increase. And I mean, we're going through areas there now where the bird life is just an ocean of birds. I mean, I'll send you some videos, but it's amazing. You go in the boat and it's just an ocean of birds, and there's these tiny little fish, and they're all just piles of them just jumping through the water, and they're being chased by tiger fish underneath. And then as they jump, the birds are grabbing them from above, and so the whole place is like coming back to life. It's coming back to what it should be, right? It's not. It's actually it's us that have wrecked it. So it's not really that amazing that it's coming back to what it should be, because that's
exactly
what it should be, which is a funny thing. But it's just
and
magic.
I'm sure that is in a short space of time that nature recovers after being almost wiped out, coming back to that state again. It doesn't take long.
No.
So I think that's quite reassuring to know that with a little bit of help and the conservation side of things can get back to where they were.
100%, 100%. And that's what's so cool. I mean, we all saw it on the news in COVID, right? We all saw cities going green.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bird life coming back into all of that rubbish. And so, it's so cool, but it's also, it's so nice. It's so nice that we wrecked it, us as in us humans wrecked it. And hopefully us same humans that wrecked it, hopefully we can bring it back. And again, it all goes back to, I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for guests coming who wanting to go fishing.
Absolutely.
This wouldn't have happened. That place would be dead if it wasn't for the guests coming and staying with us and other lodges and coming with you and coming with other travel agents. And we're all in this together. From the guests to our competition, to your competition, to all of us. We're all in it together. And when we can bring nature back, now we're fighting on the right team. And so it's been amazing. And as a thing that I didn't start All Malo, my dad did, and he started All Malo with nothing in his bank account and 3 kids, and he was 50 years old, and there was nothing here, not another lodge in Laikipia, and he had this idea of building some rooms and having people come over from America and pay us money to, I don't know, do what we do every day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a bizarre thought when you think of it, isn't it?
Yeah. No, well, you guys are doing a great job, and I'm the first one to put my hand up to say I'll be up there next tomorrow if I could. It's you guys do have an amazing life, and we spent a couple of days with you last year December and got to see that. But as I said, I've flown with you 3 times, and I think for me what I love about what you do is, and we can see this here when you're talking, is the passion that hasn't left. And I remember you flew a family of mine, 2 choppers, and you were up to Lake Turkana, back down again. You sent me videos off that. You sent me voice notes going, that was amazing, such a cool day. And, that excitement that I got from you is incredible, because if you're excited about it, I can only imagine what the guests are experiencing. And that's why we love sending our guests up into that incredible place with you. But let's talk about that. As I said, I love helicopters. I try and get my guests into helicopters. Some guests are nervous, and that's fine. We respect that. But what is it? What is it about the northern part of Kenya and your helicopters that makes it such an incredible experience? Why are people doing this?
100%. Shit, good question. 100%. I don't know. I mean, the funny thing is with us, and like and I know, it's the hardest thing to persuade people. It's a hard thing to persuade people to do, because it's not cheap, right? We make it as cheap as we possibly can, because basically, if we were millionaires, we'd be doing this for free, taking people up there for free, and that would be it. But we've got to make, we've got to pay school fees and the helicopters running as well. So I mean, 100%. I don't know. It's you can only really experience it when you're there, right? It's like it's just this. It's a funny thing. It's and I guess 100%. Yeah, I don't know. It's just we love it, and that's why we do it, right?
Yeah. So that's something I remember you said to me. I think we were sitting around the fire at Malo, and you were like, "This is what we do for fun. We love to do this. Why wouldn't we show people coming here? Why wouldn't we show them that?" And like
Yeah.
you said, you've been exploring that part of Kenya your whole life. You've been going up there on your personal basis, and absolutely loving it. Why wouldn't you show that to people coming to Kenya?
Yeah.
And that hits the nail on the head for me.
Yeah, and it's not the, I mean, to scratch our backs, it's not the helicopter. It's
Mm.
not the, you know, it is where we're going,
Yeah.
because where we're going is so, so, so special. I mean, I think on a, we've had mainly we've had guests who have been around the world and traveled the world, and they're big travelers and they're rich and famous, or they're not, or whatever, but they've been all over the
Mm.
place and they're
Mm.
adventurous, and they are proper travelers. It's not like they don't just go to Paris, they go to
Yeah.
the North Pole or the White City or whatever it's called.
Mm.
It's we have people that really go everywhere. Even when we take them, they're like, that was the best day I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's proven it to us, because I don't know that. We've traveled a bit and we've been around, but we're not worldly as that goes. So we don't know how lucky we are.
Yeah.
And we only get told, or we only realize, I guess, how lucky we are when we get people who have done all that other stuff,
Mm.
and they say this was the best.
Yeah.
And it's weird, because it's absolutely the best. It's like you know very well, we're all in sales, or we try and be.
Yeah.
And you can try and sell something, and you can be like, okay, this lodge is maybe for you, maybe not. And yeah, and say every now and then you get it slightly wrong, and maybe it wasn't quite for them. So there's always that percentage.
Yeah.
This one, the funny thing is, there isn't a percentage,
Yeah.
because we haven't had one person, one agent, no one has said
Mm.
any. Everyone has been like, that was the best day of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so but people don't believe you, because obviously marketing is a load of rubbish. So maybe they think we're just speaking rubbish.
Yeah.
But that's the absolute factor. That's what it is. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
like a food where some people like, some people don't. It's just,
yeah.
if you're 2 years old, if you're 80 years old, and anywhere in between, honeymoon couple, whatever you are, grandpa with your kids, whatever it is, everyone loves it. And
Yeah.
I mean, for us, so Sean, it may sound a bit cheesy or whatever, and actually it does. When I'm thinking about what I'm about to say, it sounds very cheesy. But for us, for me, because I love family, and obviously everyone is family, like everyone has family, and I think that's super special, and it's something that sort of gives.
Just before you're about to say the cheesy part, I lost you. Okay, you're back.
So it might sound cheesy or whatever, but we, as you know, because you've stayed with us, we're all about family, and
Yeah.
obviously you've Annie's here, and Speedy, and my kids are here. I can hear them playing with dinkies in the background.
Yeah.
And we're all here, and it was started by mum and dad, and we've all sort of come in behind them, and now mum's gone, but dad's still here, and he's still with us, and it's all family. And a lot of the trips we get are families.
Yeah.
Who are no different to us. It's, you got a teenage daughter who would prefer to be in partying with her friends, and she's been dragged on safari by her mum and dad, and she's doing it because it's whatever. And she's done the game drives, and they were good because she saw a lion and they saw a crossing, and that was fun.
Yeah.
But they got a bit boring, and then they did it again the next day, and now there's no what's it called? No tickety-tockety or whatever it's called, and no Wi-Fi, and for us, you put them in the chopper, and it's weird. Like, the mum and dad become kids,
Yeah.
and the kids are like, "Whoa, my mum and dad are cool. This is fun."
Yeah.
And because we're all kids inside, all of us, even if we get slightly long in the tooth, we still think we can become kids.
Yep. Yeah.
And you go off, and we'll go and we'll land, and it's typical spot, like usually in the middle of the trip, we'll land like on the dunes, and the teenage daughter will get out of the chopper, and the dad will get out, and and they're all being kids. They're running around, so excited they can't contain themselves, and then she'll turn around and give him a big hug.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's
There
it.
you
Our job's done.
Moment.
And and it means everything to us to be able to give people even a little bit of, even a hint of that scenario, it means the world to us. And then, on top of, I mean, everything's amazing. We give that to people, and we managed to conserve a place like South Island, and we're hopefully conserving South Island. Hopefully we're providing food for eternity for a million other families. And it all goes back to families and us all being together and being together with nature and all of that. And the little helicopter's just in the middle there. It's the tool. It's the paintbrush to paint the picture.
Yeah. I remember you told me that when we were first time I flew with you and was sitting in the chopper, and you said that it's not a helicopter tour. This is a tool used to get us up into those incredible places up in northern Kenya. And yeah, I love it. It's we sell it a lot. We try and get our guests onto it. The feedback we've had from guests that have done it is mind-blowing, and literally I've had guests that have traveled all over the world that have said exactly that. It's the best thing they've ever done, their best day ever. And yeah, you guys make it fun. I remember the headsets on and you got the music playing, the doors are off, and you got waving your arms out, and it's the freedom. You're flying around, you're going, hey, what's that over there? Let's go and have a look, and drop the chopper down, and you land where we wanted. You put me down on a few volcanoes, did a few flybys. It's just the freedom to get up there and explore. The scenery is continuously changing. When I was doing it with we're flying up with the journalists, and they'd been all over the world, and they were continuously going, oh, this reminds me of that place and that place. And as the scenery was continuously changing, from the mountains, the cycad forest, the stony desert, then Lake Turkana, then the volcanoes, then the swimming pools, then the flamingos. It's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. We've got a lot of people coming up this year that are doing it, and I'm super excited for them to come back and tell us how they found it. But incredible time. Aside from the helicopters, you do various trips from the sundowners at Omalo. You do half days. You go up to kind of just south, just Lake Turkana. You go onto South Island. You do your overnights on South Island as well, and we're finding a lot of guests are mixing that raw, on the ground, authentic experience with luxury lodges, and we have again quite a few guests that are doing that, and Segera combined. Staying with you, doing that, going up to Segera, and kind of combining that authentic and luxury together. It's you have incredible product, and you guys look after our guests really well, and many more to come. So Andrew, thank you for looking after our guests, doing an incredible job, and I think being so passionate about it. I'll never forget that voice note you sent me, and you'd had a little bit of a nip by a croc that you tried to catch, and you did catch, and things like that. So I think that makes it extra special.
Oh well, Sean, it's a really bizarre thing because like for us, we don't change anything to suit the guests. We just do what we have done, and that's why we all love Kenya, and that's why we're here. And so, I mean, we love working with you guys. We love the guests you send are amazing. And it's not really work for us, and it's just great fun. And we're just getting a bit older and uglier, but we're just going to carry on doing what we're doing.
Yeah, until the next generation can take over.
That's it. They better hurry up and finish school and get on with it. Yeah,
exactly. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. Good luck for the upcoming season. I know it's going to be a busy one for you guys, and hopefully I'll get to come and see you again soon and go and camp out on South Island at some point.
100%. Yeah, you got to come and do that. It's magic. It is absolute magic. But Sean, thank you very much. Nice to chat. I hope I've answered all your questions in the correct manner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you come soon. We're looking forward to it.
Will do. I absolutely love helicopters, and I think that Northern Kenya helicopter experience has to be one of the most amazing things you can do. So thanks for joining. In the next episode, I speak to Vasco to learn more about the history of Gorongosa National Park.